So the news has come out, of course, that Neighbours is ceasing production after 37 years on our screens. And one of the people who has been on that Ramsey Street through many trials and tribulations for 28 years is Dr. Carl Kennedy, better known, of course, Alan Fletcher. And I'm delighted that Alan is here. So good day, Alan. How are you doing?
G'day, David. Always great to talk to you. We have a very long history together, don't we? Go
We,
back a
we
long way.
we do. I think it's maybe 14 or 15 years now, but we'll talk about that very soon because obviously the Neighbours history is such a big thing as well, and it's been a big
Mm.
part of your life for so long. I suppose news has sort of settled with you a bit now. I mean, how do you feel now that the news has sort of filtered through and you sort of know what's happening now?
Well, I was talking to Jackie Woodburn today, who plays Susan Kennedy, and it's a funny thing, isn't it? You know, that you half the moment you sort of go, okay, well, I'm reconciled to that. Then the next minute you go, but I'm just going to miss so much being part of this family, this environment. I have to say, my biggest thing about Neighbours Ending is my feelings for the fans. We've got millions of people around the world who love the show, who are not going to get it past August in the UK and September in Australia. They're gutted and they're sending me lots of emails, lots of messages through social media. So my heart goes out to a lot of people who truly, genuinely rely on Neighbours for their entertainment. So that's kind of the saddest thing for me. Although I am reassured a little bit because there will be some Neighbours events after Neighbours ends. But yeah, it's very, very sad for the fans.
You talk of the fans. I mean, as you said, we met, I think, 14, 15 years ago when you came to Belfast as part of
Mm,
your band. And,
yeah.
the Mandela Hall was rammed to the doors that night. Everyone wanted to see Dr. Carl. And even more recently, well, 2015, we randomly ended up in Reykjavik at the same time in Iceland. And
That's right.
and
That's
and
right.
and I remember, going to see it that, and I walking up to the venue. You were already in the venue, and I got off a bus in some outskirts of Reykjavik somewhere and just saw this mass of people walking towards this venue through the snow. It was like -5 centigrade. It was freezing cold. And people were queued around this building twice to go and see Dr. Carlson Neighbours because Neighbours was such a big thing even in Iceland as well. So you talk about the fans, and it
Yeah.
must have been a strange thing for you to go halfway around the world and all these people recognize you.
It was pretty strange. I mean, Iceland has a population of around the 350,000, and reportedly half the population watched the show. So I think that would have to be a national record. Uh, and we did have such a great time up there playing to the fans. And whenever I went in Iceland, petrol stations, Neighbours would be on the TV. People would come up and say hi. English is a first language in Iceland. Everyone speaks it. So look, it was incredibly heartwarming. I get the same thing when I go to Belgium or Holland or whatever, and South Africa. It's an amazing reach that Neighbours has, and it's sad to think that's ending. But you know, it's the important thing is we've had 37 wonderful years. So what we're going to do now is very much focus on celebrating Neighbours, and the last few weeks of Neighbours are going to be spectacular, David. We've got some amazing returning guests. We've already announced that Harold Bishop will return, but the long list of people who will be coming back to pay tribute to Neighbours is spectacular, and that'll be announced very soon. And then, of course, the episodes themselves will be very, very special. I haven't seen them. I'm very excited to see them, but I know they're going to be special.
I mean, one of the things that we know about you is you're a very creative person. And I know you've sort of had that creativity in Dr. Carl character for so many years. But one of the things that Neighbours has given you has been the chance to travel and to do your music and do all the different things that you also have interest in. And music, I guess, is actually where I came across you when you came to Belfast all those years ago.
Yeah.
With the waiting room. It was actually funny today on the Zoom. It actually said Alan is in the waiting room, and I thought that's quite funny.
Oh, it's so perfect. Well, the first tour, I think, of the UK was in 2005, and it just went ballistic. We did two tours in that year, two tours the next year, and two tours the year after. I think Mandela Hall would have been the highlight, primarily because the venue, I'll probably get someone in trouble saying this, but the venue was supposed to hold 900 people. I think they put 1,400 in there. And it was one of the greatest band nights I've ever had because Mandela Hall is one of the great band venues in the entirety of the UK. It was such a memorable night and I loved it so much. We did get a chance to go back again, which was fantastic. And with that, those tours were very special to me. And the funny thing is, here I was sitting at my computer, sort of looking at new music, and I thought, hang on a second, all this waiting room music isn't really properly displayed digitally. So just recently, I put all the waiting room music back up on Spotify, Apple Music, all in one place, Alan Fletcher in the waiting room. And there's been this huge upsurge of interest in it. So if you want to find out what we were doing all those years ago, it's there on Spotify and Apple Music.
I still have the original albums as well. They're very good, I have to say. And I've downloaded them recently to my phone too, when I saw that come up on your Instagram. But you know, so in those days, maybe still are, you were a bit of a rocker. It was really good music. But you're slightly veering away from that slightly now into sort of Americana and country. Why have you made that change?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've always had a huge passion for country music, primarily through perhaps one of the greatest Americana country music artists in John Prine in America, huge within that scene. John sadly died to succumb to COVID, and that was a huge loss to the industry, particularly since he survived 2 bouts of cancer as well, which was, it was just so sad. But through John Prine, I developed this love of country and Americana music. The whole notion of 3 chords and the truth, that was the attraction for me. And I've just always loved country music. And I met a couple of guys. I went up to Australia's preeminent country music festival at Tamworth, and I met some musos, and they said, why don't you come record with us? Let's have a go at it. So all through lockdowns, I had the joy of recording music, writing Americana, and we're right now on the cusp of starting to release it. I've just done a duet with the wonderful Elise Platt, who was actually on Neighbours. She played Jen Handley originally, and she came back as a bit of a nemesis for Carl and Susan recently. In fact, her character was allegedly pushed down some stairs by Carl Kennedy. So she's a wonderful singer, beautiful recording artist here in Australia, and we've done a duet called Sorry Is the Word, and that will release all around the world on April the 8th. And David, I've promised you that I'll make sure I have a preview for you on April the 7th.
That sounds good to me. The other thing, just before we finish, is photography is a big thing for you as well. And on your website, of course, there's all different types of photography you've done all over the world. That's been an interest you've had for such a long time as well. Do you hope to sort of pursue that a bit more now that you have a bit more free time, if you like?
Well, that's exactly it. People said to me, what are you going to do now that Neighbours is finished? You must have a lot of time in your hands. And so I don't know if I will, because with COVID starting to wind down, I hope to be traveling again extensively. If you head over to my website and look at the photography section, you'll see that I think I've covered about 9 or 10 of the countries I've traveled to out of the 40-something I've been to. I'm slowly building that photography up, and I hope to be traveling again later in this year and taking more photos. I love travel photography. I love landscape, I have to say. But I was a headshot photographer for 20 years as well, so I love portraiture. It's a great joy to me, and something I hope to be pursuing. What I need to do is get to Northern Ireland, and really start to photograph that beautiful, beautiful part of the world.
You do, because you've only ever really seen Belfast in the dark, mainly.
I know.
So we have
always
to get
there at the wrong time of year.
I know. We have to get you out to the Giant's Causeway and Dunluce Castle, all those places around to let you see what they're actually like. That's good. It's been great to talk to you once again, Fletch. It's been too long since we've met in person, but hopefully later on this year you'll get back to North Ireland and we'll be able to catch up properly again.
I really look forward to it, David, and I very, very much appreciate the support your listeners and you have given me all these years. Thank you so much.